Well, what is up, all of our liberty-loving friends? This is another fantastic episode of Good Morning Liberty. My name is Nate Thurston. Across from me is Mr. Charles Chuck Thompson. Happy Wednesday to everyone. What's up, Chuck? It's episode 1675 or 4 or something.
I don't know. Today you have to go, so this is going to be like a speed dating episode.
That's fine. We've only got 2 things to talk about.
So, hi, my name is Charlie. Nice to meet you.
What do you do?
I talk about politics.
Podcast, bro.
Yeah.
There you go.
It was kind of funny. I was having a conversation with Brittany last night, and she was just like, sometimes I don't want to get involved in the drama, and I just want to pay attention to my life and the people close to me. And I'm like, yeah, I wish I could do that too.
Yeah.
But I don't have that.
You have to get involved.
I have an itch for some reason because I'm like, okay, well, I want to know why people end up starving.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, well, typically it's bad economic policy, and you got to go back to why. You got to go back to the why. You got to keep digging and digging and digging until you get to the root cause.
Even if you just want to pay attention to the people that you care about that are close to you, these things affect them.
Yeah.
Why is your friends and family's healthcare costs so high? Why did their grocery bill go up so much? Why are they funding wars all around the world? Why are they doing all these? Why are they getting so much tax money taken from them and then wasted? Like these things matter to your friends and family. It actually affects them every day.
So I kind of got her last night because I was like, well, do you care about violence against women? She's like, well, yeah, I don't like people, hurting other people. And I'm like, okay, good. Okay, well, what's the number one predictor of violence against women? It's like, oh, well, that's a man who has a single mother. That's the greatest predictor of violence against women.
Interesting.
Okay, well, why, though? Why is that? Oh, well, it's a breakdown of the nuclear family. Fathers aren't in the home. Well, why is that? Okay, we just keep going. You're trying to find a root cause.
Yeah.
Okay, that can eventually, maybe you can influence culture and or policy. I'm not always an advocate for policy because I don't like top-down control. However, you can influence culture and policy to move people in a direction that are going to help solve not only problems for society, but it helps solve individual problems. Individual problems stem from typically they're self-inflicted / they come from a broader cultural policy decision-making apparatus. And to affect and solve hard problems, you have to talk about these things. It's the only way. I said last night, I'm like, man, I would love to just ignorantly bliss my life and just be like, walk through and not think about a thing. That would be I would love that. But I don't have that in me. I have to explore and do what we do. So when you ask, Charlie, what is it that you do? Well, I torture myself by constantly
For a living.
abstractly thinking about what is happening among broader human activity.
You pay attention.
So that maybe we can make decisions that make life the most abundant for every single amount of human prosperity we can think of. That's the ultimate goal. That's the hardest problem to solve.
And that's what Good Morning Liberty is. You should listen every single day of the week. Big news happened yesterday.
Shouldn't ask me such a
Charlie,
complicated question.
I know. What do you do? Well, how much time do you have?
What do you mean by do?
Big news happened yesterday.
You didn't even get that.
By the way, in our episode, sorry, what did I not?
I said, what do you mean by do?
Oh, that was a nice Jordan Peterson. It's pretty good. Yesterday's episode, we were like, oh, this Epstein Bill is never going to pass. They're going to throw all kinds of amendments in it. They're going to drag their feet. They're going to attach it to another must-pass bill, something like that. And it turns out like 2 hours after we posted the episode, the Senate had already passed it. Here's the Senate passing it.
There an objection? Without objection, so ordered.
Senate has now passed the Epstein Bill as soon as it comes over.
There an objection?
All right, so there's the Senate passing it by unanimous consent.
How did it come over? He said as soon as it came over.
I guess they walked it. Yeah,
probably shouldn't send it through the mail.
So they passed it by unanimous consent. I am surprised about that. Like a lot of people, that I saw online, it's like you can never be happy as someone who's skeptical of the government. It doesn't matter what they do. Even if you're pushing for this to be passed, the fact that it passed so handily, which, by the way, now Thomas Massey is no longer a do-nothing congressman. He got a bill passed 427-1, and that's a pretty big margin for your first bill.
And then unanimous,
and then
100 to 0
in the Senate, and then the president is gonna sign it because they've got a veto-proof majority anyway, so he's gonna sign it. That's pretty good for your first bill. Let me tell you what, you got one person who voted against it. And so it's pretty cool, but I can't help but be skeptical now because I'm like, wow, that was fast. A little too fast.
Well, here's the thing, though. When you force a vote, you have to put your name on record. No one wants to be associated, besides Clay Higgins, with saying no.
And he took what he says is a principled stand, and I guess in some way, assuming that's true, maybe you have to respect someone taking a principled stand on this. We respect Thomas Massey when he takes a principled stand. I wish people would, I wish Clay Higgins would take a principled, stand on not adding $2 trillion more to the debt or something like that. But this is the case. He's worried that some people are going to get named in these files that didn't do anything wrong, and that their lives are going to be upended simply because they had associations. Doesn't mean they ever went to the island or were on the plane or ever did anything illegal, nothing like that. And so he's worried about that. Sure, I can get that. Let's see, we already brushed past these two things.
I saw a video last night where, Thomas Massey said, well, if Trump tries to block it or something, they'll just start reading the names from the House floor, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, which he has said now. He's said a couple times, and so did MTG, and so people are kind of dragging them for that because they haven't done it.
What it sounds like is that this is not a know nothing burger. Apparently, there's Thomas Massey elaborated that. Sorry, I'm going through puberty too at 37. Thomas Massey,
doing a Christopher Walken impression.
elaborated that there are some, I guess, rich, powerful men for sure that are on this list, and they'll know whether or not the full list has been revealed because they have seen some of the names. And so this seems like there is going to be something that comes from this. My hope is that we actually start to tear down what appears to be a disgusting pedophile ring. Maybe Pizzagate wasn't such a far-fetched conspiracy theory.
What people are worried about right now is some of the language in this bill, which is a very short bill, very easy to read and see the language, does allow for redactions for things like national security, classified documents, things like that, or something that would jeopardize an active federal investigation, which we have been talking about for the last couple of days. They did decide to reopen the investigation into some of these people over the weekend, probably as they saw that this bill was likely going to pass. They reopened a bunch of investigations. And so people are worried about that. Massey says, for anyone hoping to use ongoing investigations as a reason to withhold Epstein files, please read the language of the bill. It says narrowly tailored and temporary. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Of course, I don't think temporary is defined in the bill. What is temporary? I mean, all of human existence, Charlie, is temporary when you think about the grand span of planet Earth and how long it's been here. So how long is temporary? It's not really defined in the bill. So we'll see. There's other people asking questions about redactions for classified documents and national security, and those are things that they're going to have to work through. They do have to present, even if it is classified or whatever. In the bill, it says they have to present a summary to Congress about what the classified material is. So they have to present that to them, and essentially their scrutiny on the things that they do decide to redact in this. So we'll see. I don't have super high hopes for this, but that's the government's fault for lying to me for so many years. And so the fact that I'm still skeptical that anything will come of this is their fault, and they're not sorry about it. but it is, I mean, that's been the case for a long time. Some people are upset with Thomas Massie and some of the others. There was a video of someone trying to get Massie to apologize for calling Trump a pedophile protector. I've seen this video posted around a lot.
Apologize to President Trump for calling him a pedophile protector.
Well, I didn't call him that.
You inferred it many times. X accounts, posts, statements.
I'm super happy that Trump's backing my legislation now for transparency.
I don't know.
Glad he came around to it.
So you don't want to apologize
I
though?
I look forward to going to the bill signing. He said he's going to sign my bill now.
Did he?
He's doing the right thing.
Did he invite you to?
All right. So anyway, that's what's going on. Massey's happy. Just got his first bill passed. And so that's pretty cool.
He gets to do nothing off of his
Yeah.
that old chip off the shoulder. You can tell he's walking more freely.
Yeah, he's got some pep in his step.
Yeah, a few peps.
I want to
there.
play this clip from Ben Shapiro. I was listening to Ben Shapiro. He was talking about Steve Bannon and stuff in this episode, so I was checking out, and he had some stuff to say about Thomas Massey's motivations and intentions behind this.
And there he is saying Trump chickened out. Okay, so he's attacking Trump on Epstein. And guess who else is? Thomas Massie, of course. And the reason Thomas Massie is attacking Trump on Epstein is not because Thomas Massie is so deep in the weeds on Epstein and cares deeply about... I mean, he's right next to Ro Khanna. Come on. Ro Khanna, the Democratic congressman from California who despises the president of the United States. The reason they're holding hands is not because they are so deeply ensconced in the Epstein case. It's because Massie doesn't like many of the things that Trump is doing as president, which is why Trump wants him primaried. Here is Thomas Massie trying to claim credit for all of this.
Now, what does he mean by that? Here's Thomas Massie trying to claim credit for all of this. He literally forced the vote. It was not going to happen. Mike Johnson was not going to put this on the floor. He went around him, got a petition signed, and forced the bill to the floor. And
by the way, it only got the exact number of signatures required to do so, and that took getting another congresswoman sworn in.
Yeah.
To get that last vote.
And that, like, we'll talk about this on Friday's Dumb Bleep of the Week for sure, but so many people right now are acting like, well, it's only Trump coming through and telling Republicans to vote for it. That's why this happened. Like, first off, no, it's only Massie and Khanna getting this petition going to force it to the floor, getting the signatures to force it to the floor. They were going to have the votes to do it. All that happened was Trump and Republicans realized that they were either going to be on the right side of this or the wrong side of this, and they chose at the last minute to pretend like they were on the right side of this the whole time. And he's out there saying that, well, this is just a bunch of Democrats. All his friends were Democrats. Clearly, Trump was friends with Epstein. We all know that. But to be fair, he was a Democrat at that time. So all of his friends were Democrats. And that's not, if it were just Democrats, I'm sorry, if it were just Democrats, Trump would have been pushing the release this the whole time. Why wouldn't he? Yeah. That's how you know it's not just Democrats that are going to be implicated in this stuff. If it literally, if it comes out it's only Democrats, why weren't they pushing for it the entire time?
Trump would have released it in 2020 to help his re-election campaign.
And so that's just clearly not the case.
But the problem is I bet a lot of people who are donating to election campaigns might be in this list.
Mm-hmm.
Rich donors.
So that really concludes what I brought on the Epstein stuff. We'll see how this all plays out. I got to tell you about this thing I was watching last night before we get out of here today. We got like 15 minutes to have a super in-depth, complicated conversation.
Good. I'm great at those.
Yeah. I saw Dave Smith responding to this video and criticism that was put out by this guy that goes by Zulu or Liquid Zulu or something like that. Apparently, like has a small on the smaller side of following. I'm not critiquing that, but a rabid following, like very active following of people. He's got more subscribers on his YouTube than we do. And he put out this 3.5 hour video about Dave Smith called Anatomy of the Celebritarian. That from all the clips I've got, like if I were to boil it down for you, it's here's why Dave Smith is not a real libertarian and why he's bad for libertarianism. And so Dave Smith finally came out and responded to it on this the show is called, I think it's Biblical Anarchy was the handle. I think that's what it's called. And they started talking about all this in the weeds libertarian theory and thought and all that. And maybe some of you guys are going to disagree with this, but hearing him have this conversation and have this argument or this debate about proper libertarianism and proper theory and different ways the nap could be useful in certain circumstances and all that. I realized last night watching this, because we've seen a lot of Dave Smith recently on all kinds of massive shows. I realized, man, libertarians are just so freaking irrelevant, man. Like they just are. Like the conversations seem to be, and I'm a libertarian and I care about these theories and this thought. The conversations seem to be absolutely by far the most pointless conversation he has had in several months.
That wasn't real libertarianism.
It's what it was. It's essential. I mean, like, look here. Let me give you a
you know why
random sample right
he
here.
did this because of what's happening right now. People were talking about it. That's why this Zulu guy, whatever this is.
I mean, also, I'm sure he cares about this stuff. And even Dave Smith had nice things to say about him. He seems like he's probably great on economic theory and thought and all of that. And he's a young guy. And like, I'm not trying to disparage him specifically. And I get where he's coming from. But like, just spend a few seconds here with me.
Precedes existence.
This is the Dave Smith critique video.
They tell us that the true is that which works. And a thing working means that it achieves certain purposes. Purposes held by a consciousness. So the true is that which satisfies the purposes of a consciousness. But the primacy of consciousness is itself a stolen concept fallacy. To be conscious means to be conscious of something. The concept consciousness relies upon the prior...
No one gives a shit. Guys, I almost clicked out of our episode right now, and we're trying to explain this.
Is this a college course?
I get why he's explaining this. It's super in the weeds, inside baseball stuff for libertarianism, but no one cares, y'all. No, I'm sorry. They don't. We are so far removed from the American public deciding to spend 20 seconds on this, which we couldn't even do just then because I was worried about losing listeners. We are so far removed from the American public spending any time on this at all that it's laughable. It's nearly embarrassing to have this, to try and have this conversation with any like normal everyday people. What libertarians have to realize, this is the first speech we ever gave at a Young Americans for Liberty convention. What libertarians have to realize is that almost no one thinks like libertarians do. It's a very rare thing. I'm not saying one is right or wrong or whatever, but almost no one goes through their day thinking about things the way that we think about things. They're worried about their job and their kids and getting gas and buying groceries, going to bed on time, making sure they wake up.
Potholes in their roads.
That kind of, exactly. Does their kids' school suck? Does it not suck? Is my babysitter going to show up this weekend or so I can go to Olive Garden?
Real world problems.
Actual real world problems. That's what people are really worried about. And there's, I guess right now, still a fight between the people who are talking about the real world problems and taking actions to solve some of them potentially, and the people who are like, well, no, but this is what would happen in a perfect libertarian utopia, and so you got to be pushing people towards this. And I'm just telling you, you're not like going to win people over with that. There's not enough people to care about this. It's not going to work. And you might be right. It's great. One thing I want to make sure I say is that it is necessary to have what Dave Smith calls the theory bros, and then to have whatever, the people who take action. Some people call them like pragmatists, or some people call them neo-prags these days. There's the Mises Caucus, I guess. See, I already lost people who aren't involved in this just then.
Neo-prags?
There's...
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You see how stupid this is? It's
with
ridiculous.
You. I'm with you, man.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I think there has to be a school of thought that underlies, or is the foundation or the underlings to pragmatic action. If you want to go the prag route,
Just say like practical actions that can be taken in the real world today.
There has to be an ideal behind it. But acting as if that's the ideal is the most important in how you communicate the action that's being taken, I don't think is relevant.
No,
you have to. We talk about this. We've talked about this several times in our speeches. Is that you're in the game. Okay, the game exists, and you should be playing by not necessarily the rules of the game, but by playing by what's understood of the game of politics to advance liberty. For instance, Thomas Massey is a Republican in Congress who utilized the tools of the game to force a vote to advance something that people who care about liberty and children care about. Okay, you have to use. He wasn't talking about. He didn't go on CNN talking about the non-aggression principle, and that's why this is so important.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, kids can't consent.
Or he didn't stand there and say, well, I'm not going to force this vote because I don't think the DOJ should exist in the first place.
Right.
How right am I, everyone? Isn't that great?
Right. So you have to, I think both are important. But I just found it, what I saw, because I saw this a couple weeks ago, I don't think I even told you about it. I just saw someone calling out Dave Smith as a do-nothing libertarian.
It's a libertarian.
It's a libertarian. And so I looked into it. I'm like, oh, I see. This guy is just seemingly going after a very prominent voice because if you can get his attention, he'll respond in defense of himself, because he does do that on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can get more views and maybe more fans that way. Solid marketing tactic. It's called punching up,
Mm-hmm.
and it works. And there are some people who are going to see that, who, especially people who are on Dave's X and who hate him, and they're going to see that and be like, "Oh yeah, this guy gets it. He's destroying Dave Smith right now. I'm going to subscribe to his channel," and that's what I see this as, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's just I could be wrong, but when I objectively look at something like this, like it's like I've seen this happen before. And
Yeah,
that's just what it is.
I think it's possible
And then I moved on about my day.
Yeah, I think it's possible that that's what it is, but we critique people that are above us all the time in stature, and I guess anyone could say, well, you're just trying to do that for attention, or it could be that we actually believe the things that we're saying. And so I don't really know about the motivations behind it. I would just say that it's important for both of these groups to exist. And both groups need to realize that. The theory bros need to exist, and the whatever you want to call the other group the Dave Smiths need to exist also. The people who actually go out there talking to people and doing things and potentially moving the needle. They both need it. You got to have that guiding principle, like what you were talking about earlier. Look at the Republican Party. They got power. They got action. Absolutely no guiding principle whatsoever. Cannot figure out a single thing about what they believe, what their end goal is, what they're trying to achieve, except for just a slogan that means anything they say it means on any given day. And so that can be an issue.
They've forgone any sort of conservatism principles.
Yeah, it's not small government, free markets, stuff like that. It's just whatever I say this means, and it covers whatever policy one specific person wants to push today. And that's not good. So you need that guiding principle, because without that, your people who go out there and do the interviews and try to move the needle, well, what's the aim? What are we trying to achieve here? So that's important. But both groups need to realize that both groups are important, and you don't need to just go out and attack one person from the other group. They both need to accept that they're important. Like, when it comes to, say, converting people over to libertarianism, which is super important, of course, like that's what we need. I said this in a comment earlier, but some of the people who are very in-depth in libertarian theory seem to act like what's necessary is that we have this kind of matrix style, like we're going to hook people up and we're going to upload the non-aggression principle and Austrian economics into their head. They're going to wake up and it's going to be awesome. But what we actually need is closer to the movie Inception, because that's the attention span that people have. Like whatever.
What you need is somebody like Ron Paul.
Yes, exactly like Ron Paul.
What you
which
need
is
is
what
somebody
I put,
like Dave Smith.
Yes. And
What
the
you need
idea
are arbiters who understand the theory. What's that old saying? Something about those that can't do, teach. So the people who are ingrained in theory and teaching those types of things, and then people who have the capability to take action and be great arbiters are the ones who actually will move the needle to then once you get someone interested, then they'll start diving into the theory bros.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that happened in my life. You know, I watched Ron Paul talk about these things during the debate, not because that was his opening 2 minutes. He wasn't like, the theory of libertarianism came down from Hayek and, all these guys. Adam Smith, wrote a great book everyone should read. And then everybody's like, oh, what's the book? Let me get the book. No, he talked about things in a practical way within the game that exists. He was Republican, by the way. He talked about the game. He talked about the practical or pragmatic action. And then, of course, he was asked crazy questions about, making heroin legal and stuff that got a lot of play. And so he derived his answers from the theory itself, but it's not how you move the needle.
No, how you move the needle is with small ideas and small steps. Like, look at this as we'll go back to Ron Paul here in a second, because I mentioned him as well. But some of these people act like they're trying to create, like it's a religion almost, like they're trying to create the perfect Bible of what the perfect libertarian is, and that's what they're wanting to make. And what you got to realize is that religions have their like theologians, and then they have churches. And you got to think about when you go to a church, like what do you hear? I imagine like the theologian side, but they'll take a verse and let's just talk about this for like 4 hours, and let's talk about what this means really. What did they actually mean with this verse, and just keep going layer after layer after layer. But then imagine having that conversation with someone who's never heard the gospel in their life, doesn't even know what religion is, not even sure what we're talking about really at all. And you show them the 3-hour clip of someone just going layer after layer after layer of Jesus wept. Yeah. Their eyes are going to glaze over. Their attention span, it's not long enough. They're not going to learn anything from this. You go to a church and a pastor's like, think about what's going on in your life. Are you having a tough time? Having a tough time paying your bills? You're worried about all these different things causing anxiety. Well, let me tell you what's actually going to solve that for you. Jesus. Okay. Now that's a message that someone can be like, oh yeah, I can take that home today with me right now.
I resonate with that.
Yes.
Yes.
You talked about me just then, the things literally, I didn't really care that much about what you were saying. I cared about all the stuff. And then turns out you were just talking about all the stuff that I was thinking about in my head and telling me how it's going to be better. Mm-hmm. That's what people have to do. That's what libertarians have to do. And it's important to have that direction that we're all aiming for, but it's not going to be perfect. Like, look at the income tax we have right now. I don't like it. Hey, do we both agree taxation is theft? We'd like to be zero.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you supported it, let's say there's a bill for a 10% flat tax. Would you support that?
Yes.
Statist. That is not real libertarianism, and you are leading people in the wrong direction.
Leading people
You
astray.
are bad. You are a cancer to libertarianism.
You're sending people to libertarian hell. Blasphemous.
God, you're just going to go live down there with Marx and Keynes. No, that's so It's a good
I mean,
example.
we only give 10% to the Lord. Why should we give him more than 10% to?
Actually, make it 9.9. Let's make this fair.
Yeah.
Okay. No, but the Ron Paul thing, and this might be embarrassing if you haven't heard me tell this story before, but I voted for George Bush. I was a supporter of George Bush. I wanted John McCain to win in 2008. I thought Obama was like an Islamic Sharia law terrorist from Kenya or something. I don't know. That probably wasn't out at that time. But I thought that this was the end of the world. And I had never...
All you kept hearing was Barack Hussein.
Yeah.
Barack Hussein.
I had never heard of libertarianism, never thought about it. I was a mindless Republican bot on MySpace. is what I was. Going through, commenting on everything, like McCain, 08, whatever. Just like what you see today.
And you didn't even know he had brain cancer at the time.
Didn't know anything about it. And so I understand why people are like that. But all it took was not someone giving me a 30-hour book on Austrian economics or properly explaining the non-aggression principle to me. Like, that's not why I'm a libertarian today. All it took was Ron Paul, a Republican, telling me one simple thing. Your government, even the people that you agree with and that you voted for, they are lying to you. You cannot trust your government. That idea right there. You cannot trust the government.
You're like, what do you mean?
That's it. That led to me reading all the books that you guys are talking about and trying to discuss the proper way to explain all of these ideas from that one little idea right there. You cannot trust your government. And I was like, why not? And I looked at it and I was like, wait, they could be lying to me for their own selfish goals? Like, that's made up? This the whole thing behind this war is made up? Taxes are actually bad? Like, life could be better with that? Then I just kept going further and further down the rabbit hole. And
you met some theory bros later.
Then I am a theory bro from time to time. It's fun. You know what's great about being a theory bro? You're always right. You never have to do anything. You're always right because you're theorizing about things. You never have to take any responsibility for anything because your full, complete, real libertarianism never gets implemented anywhere. And so you're always right, just like a Marxist is always right about socialism because it's never really happened before. And so whatever their theories are, they are always correct. That one right there, no, that wasn't real. I am always correct all the time. If someone would just do exactly what I say to do, then the entire world would be great. And you never have to worry about being wrong because it's never going to happen. Okay?
And this is where Milton Friedman was brilliant, where he said, just where are you going to find these angels to organize society for us?
Yeah. And that's a great
we
way,
have nothing but flawed human beings.
Milton Friedman probably did this for a lot of people, back in his day as well. Like that 2-minute clip from Phil Donahue is more important for small government, liberty-minded to libertarianism. The what is greed clip, that one right there, is more important than any of the books you guys are thinking about right now. That 2-minute clip is more important to the future of liberty actually happening in our lifetimes than any of the books that you guys want to talk about. And maybe that'll make some people mad, but it's the truth, because it's not libertarians learning what real libertarianism is so they can properly talk to other libertarians and agree about real libertarianism that matters. What matters is there's like 100,000 of you people out there that think you're all real libertarians or that care about libertarianism. The other votes you guys get, by the way, are just because people are fed up with the other parties. Like, if you really boil down to it, And so, like, that's it. The problem is there's another 350 million people that either know nothing about libertarianism, or when they do see one of you guys or hear you talking, they don't care because you're terrible at messaging. People want to hear about how these ideas are going to affect their lives today, right now. And that might be wrong. Let's agree that's wrong. That kind of time preference about worrying about the here and now, that's what got us into this point in the first place. But that is what people care about. That is what they want to hear. They're wondering how they're going to pay their bills in 2 weeks. They don't want to hear about in 20 years we could have this problem solved by the anarcho-capitalism. They'll be dead by then. They'll be starving somewhere by then. So just meet people where, if you actually, like, that's if you want more people to come to the movement. If your goal is to get all 100,000 of us to agree what real libertarianism is so we can write a great book that then we can just all read afterwards, then keep doing what you're doing. That's fine.
Yeah, I think what the guy's doing is fine. It's just you don't need to call out Dave Smith for what he's doing or say he's not a real libertarian. And that's why libertarians are going nowhere. I like what New Guy Josh said when your reference to religion is that Jesus spoke in parables.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus told stories. Jesus knew the law. He this is what led to the infighting. This is basically the Jews were libertarians 2,000 years ago. And you had Jesus, the great orator of the Father of God in his storytelling, which bumped up against the theory bros, the Pharisees and Sadducees, arguing over whether or not Jesus was a real Jew. You know, yes, masses follow this guy, but he's not even a real Jew, and they murdered him for it. So that's
So you're
it's
saying
really funny.
the theory bros killed Jesus.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
oh, for sure they did.
So they're like
Well,
the Jews.
But they didn't.
Yeah, I'm not sure the analogy like perfectly lines up or anything, but I understand where you're going.
They didn't kill him themselves. They pawned it off to someone else to have him killed. I think it's a perfect analogy.
It's,
you know, I'm not saying Dave Smith is Jesus. It's not what I'm trying to say.
I missed that one. Yeah,
what I'm trying to say is that similar to Jesus, Dave Smith is a great orator, and he's good at telling stories and good at comedy, and then this situation he is being attacked by the Pharisees of libertarian theology.
Yeah, what I'm worried about
for not being a real libertarian.
What I'm worried about is that we're going to get so bogged down in theory that nothing real ever happens.
The problem is I said Jew, and now everybody's like, oh.
I'm worried we're going to get so bogged down in theory that nothing real ever happens. And some of you guys who listen to the show all the time might notice that I've had a little bit different tone over the last few weeks or so when talking about some problems like the Affordable Care Act or Social Security or different things like that. Like, I could do an episode about how Social Security is a scam. We need to get rid of it right now, and everyone needs to be personally responsible and take care of themselves, and that the program should be ended tomorrow. And that's great. And it's correct. Okay. But it's not going to happen. That's not what's going to happen. There's no argument I could possibly make that's going to make that actually happen. It's important that people understand why that would be the right thing. But I'm not going to actually say that if we don't do that, then we didn't go in the right direction. I'm going to say, well, here are the things that would need to change for us to actually, fix this terrible program. When it comes to the Affordable Care Act, and I'm going to say, well, I'll mention the government should have no involvement in healthcare. It's ridiculous, but if you want to solve some things, here's a few of the regulations inside of Obamacare that you could get rid of. Now, is the fact that I'm not saying get rid of this entire thing and get rid of the health department, get rid of HHS and all that mean that I'm not a real libertarian? No, I want those things. But it is going to be important that we actually discuss solutions that could potentially happen. Not just theories, things that could actually happen to go in the right direction. And before we say like, well, shouldn't you just vote Republican then because they're not as bad as Democrats or whatever? Well, I did in the last election. But one thing that is very important is that the things are actually moving in the right direction. I am happy anytime there are small steps, however small, in the actual right direction. But that rarely happens. Sometimes the only steps are that you didn't take as big of a step in the wrong direction. And that's not enough. You need small steps in the right direction. And I'll support, I don't care what the party is or whatever. I'll support those things. And hey, if we all supported continuous small steps in the right direction, you can get across the football field 1 foot at a time. One step at a time, you'll make it all the way to the goal line.
Give me everything you got.
Even if you get pushed back a couple times, one step at a time, as long as your general direction is towards that, you'll get there.
Unless you're the Cowboys. Then.
Oh, yeah, I'll find a way to not get there. We got to go.
All right. Well, if y'all enjoyed today's episode, share it around, leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Go to GodHatesFeds.com. Speaking of Jesus, GodHatesFeds.com. Get yourself some merchandise. If you don't understand what that means, maybe look into it. Maybe look into why God Hates Feds exists, and you'll find a funny story, and it's relatable and hilarious. GodHatesFeds.com. Get some merchandise. There's a button that you can click on that website. It says Join GML, or you can head to joingml.com. Joingml.com. Be part of the Fed Haters Club, the greatest, most loving hating club in existence on all of the interwebs, and that gets you access to hang out with us. It looks like someone from the group is going to be in town shortly, so I messaged him back and said, hey, hit us up. And when you're in town, we'll see if we can do dinner. That's one of the perks that you can get by being a part of this club.
And we'll let anyone buy us dinner, as long as you're a member of the Fed Haters Club.
Yeah, and it's an easy way to gain still limited access for Nate because he just doesn't check his DMs, but you can usually get through to me. So send me a message. I'll coordinate the best I can. But I only typically respond through our Discord server, which you have to get behind Nate's paywall.
Yep.
Nate's all about them walls.
Mm-hmm.
So visit the links in the show notes to support the sponsors that support this show, or just, like I said at the beginning, a free way to do all of this so you don't have to spend any money would just be tell people about what's happening here at Good Morning Liberty. We appreciate and love all of you. Do those things or don't. I don't really care. Nate does. He thinks about it all day and night, whether or not you all follow my instructions at the end of every episode. Don't you, Nate?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's thinking about it right now. If you do, then we'll be back again tomorrow. Hope you have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.